The cold black of space stretched endlessly in every direction, stars blinking silently in the distance. In the middle of this emptiness, a ship floated, silent, lifeless, and nearly forgotten. Its metal hull was scorched and cracked, its lights long dead. Icy debris clung to its surface like scars. The identification tag on its side read, Horizon Star. 5 years ago, the Horizon Star had vanished during a peace mission. It was meant to carry delegates from the Galactic Union to meet the Varn Dominion in hopes of ending decades of tension. But the ship had disappeared without a trace. Now, it had returned, drifting near the edge of Dominion space, far from where it was last seen. Commander Lyra Voss stood on the bridge of the Union flagship Aegis, eyes locked on the holographic display of the derelict vessel. Her jaw tightened. The moment she saw the ID code, she knew this wasn't a simple recovery. The Horizon Star was more than a lost ship. It was the spark that could ignite a war. "Commander," said Lieutenant Jalen, standing beside her. "Preliminary scans show no life signs. The ship is in a stable drift. No weapons active." Lyra nodded slowly. "And the black box? Still intact? We're sending in a drone now to confirm." She took a breath, forcing herself to stay calm. Her voice came out firm. "Prep a boarding team. I'm going over myself." Jalen blinked in surprise. "Commander, with respect, that's dangerous. We don't know what's inside. Could be a trap." Lyra glanced at him. 5 years ago, my brother was on that ship. I'm not sitting this one out." That ended the discussion. Jalen didn't argue. He gave a tight nod and moved to carry out her orders. The shuttle moved carefully toward the drifting Horizon Star, guided by precision thrusters. Lyra sat in silence, suited in full armor, helmet in her lap. The boarding team around her was quiet too. Everyone knew the risk. They weren't just entering an abandoned ship. They were stepping into history, possibly the cause of the next galactic war. As they latched onto the airlock, Lyra pulled on her helmet. The hiss of sealed oxygen filled her ears. She checked her pulse rifle, not expecting to use it, but not willing to take chances. The door opened with a groan, and cold air rushed out. They stepped into darkness. Inside, the corridors were coated with frost. The lights flickered dimly, powered by failing systems. The ship was quiet except for the distant hum of the team's suits and the crunch of their boots on frozen metal. They reached the main hallway, and that's when they found them, the crew. Bodies were strapped into their seats, frozen solid. No signs of struggle. No signs of violence. It was as if time had simply stopped. Lyra's eyes landed on one figure, an officer in Union colors, helmet cracked, hands still gripping the controls. She swallowed hard. Her hand tightened around her rifle. "Any idea what killed them?" she asked. "Preliminary scan shows sudden decompression," said one of the medtechs. "But something's off." The environmental logs were wiped clean. No final entries. It's like someone deleted everything just before they died. Lyra moved toward the command console. It flickered weakly under her touch. "What about the black box?" "Found it in the core chamber," said Jalen over the comms. "Still intact, but the encryption is newer than the ship's original system." Lyra frowned. "Newer?" "Yeah. Like someone installed it after the ship disappeared. This tech wasn't Union standard 5 years ago." She stepped back. "Someone got here before us. That was bad. Very bad." Back aboard the Aegis, Lyra stood before Admiral Kale on the secure transmission channel. His image flickered with static, but his voice was steady. "This ship was carrying the only hope of peace between us and the Dominion," he said. "And now it shows up on their border, full of dead crew and missing data. They'll think we sabotaged it," Lyra said. Kale nodded grimly. "They already do." Lyra's stomach twisted. "We need to find the truth. Fast." Kale looked her in the eye. "Then you'd better find it before war begins." The screen went dark. Lyra sat alone in the observation deck, looking out at the drifting wreck of the Horizon Star through the glass. Her breath fogged the surface. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small photo, her and her brother, smiling on the training fields of Titan Station. The edges were worn. The memory felt a lifetime away. She stared at the ghost ship. Something was wrong. Very wrong. And she was going to find out what. The docking bay of the Aegis buzzed with quiet tension as Commander Lyra Voss stepped out of her armor. Her face was pale, her expression hard. Around her, the boarding team began unloading data drives and sealed containers recovered from the Horizon Star. A heavy silence followed them. Everyone knew what they had found and what they hadn't. Lyra moved quickly to the command deck, where a full diagnostics team was already at work. The recovered black box sat in a reinforced chamber, glowing faintly. Technicians hovered around it, connecting cables, whispering updates. Lieutenant Jalen approached with a data pad in hand. "Commander," he said, lowering his voice, "you'll want to see this." She took the data pad and scanned it quickly. Her eyes narrowed. The ship's last location before disappearance was recorded near a neutral trade route, Jalen said. But now? The NAV logs show it jumped into Dominion territory, then vanished. There's no record of where it went for the next 3 years. And then suddenly, it's back. Someone erased its history, Lyra muttered. Or rewrote it. Jalen gave a quiet nod. And there's more. The ship's central AI core, it was removed. Cleanly. Like someone wanted to erase everything and leave nothing behind. Lyra looked toward the observation window. Beyond it, the Horizon Star remained docked in silence, its hull scarred by time and space. This wasn't an accident, she said. Someone took that ship, killed the crew, and planted it here like a message. Later that day, Lyra walked into the memory archive chamber deep within the Aegis, a circular room filled with personal effects and service logs of fallen officers. She stopped at locker 722. The nameplate read, Lieutenant Commander Rian Voss. Her brother. She opened the locker slowly. Inside was a Union pilot's badge, a dated chip marked Private Log, and a worn book, Stars of Titan, their favorite growing up. She ran her fingers over the cover, her throat tightening. She inserted the data chip into the console. A familiar voice filled the room. This is Rian. If you're seeing this, I probably didn't make it. I'm heading out on the Horizon Star tomorrow. It's not just a routine mission, no matter what they tell the crew. We're carrying a treaty. A real one. The first real chance we've had at peace with the Varn Dominion. If this works, the war could end before it begins. But something feels off. There's talk of sabotage, of people inside the Union who want the war to continue. If anything happens to us, don't let this get buried. The message ended. Lyra stood still, the silence pressing in. Her brother had known the mission was risky. He had suspected betrayal. And now he was dead. The crew was dead. The peace treaty was gone. And the galaxy was about to burn. Across the stars, in the heart of Varn Dominion space, General Corvex stood in a dark chamber surrounded by holographic screens. His face was grim, his eyes locked on the image of the Horizon Star. His advisors stood silently behind him, waiting for his command. A Union ship, one said, loaded with diplomatic clearance codes and dead diplomats, found drifting near our border. Cor's voice was low and sharp. And no one saw it arrive? Not a single alert, sir. It's like it appeared from nowhere. Kerr narrowed his eyes. This is no accident. This is a provocation. Another advisor stepped forward. The Union claims ignorance. They say they were as surprised as we were. Cor's voice turned cold. Liars. He turned to face them all. Prepare the fleet. Alert the border patrols. I want all Dominion colonies on full defensive status. If the Union wants war, we will give it to them. Back aboard the Aegis, Lyra met with Admiral Kale again over a secure line. The Dominion is mobilizing, he said without preamble. You stirred the hornet's nest, Commander. I didn't stir anything, Lyra replied, her voice tight. They found the ship same as us, but they think we planted it there. Kale's expression was unreadable. Maybe someone did. That ship vanished 5 years ago and shows up now, right on their doorstep, with no survivors and no treaty? It smells like bait. Sir, Lyra said, leaning forward, I believe my brother was right. Someone inside the Union sabotaged that mission. Someone wanted peace to fail. And they're still out there. Kale sighed. This is above your pay grade, Commander. I don't care about pay grade, she shot back. I want the truth. And I think I can find it. Kale stared at her a long moment. Then you'd better move fast. The Dominion is already calling this a declaration of war. One wrong move, and this galaxy burns. He ended the call. That night, Lyra sat alone in her quarters, watching the stars outside her window. The silence of space felt heavy. Her brother had known something. He tried to warn her. Now it was her turn. She opened a private channel and began tracing names, old friends, contacts from the frontier, former spies, smugglers, anyone who might know what really happened to the Horizon Star. Somewhere out there, the truth was waiting, and she wouldn't stop until she found it. The stars of Sector 9X burned dim and cold, scattered like ashes across the dark void. At the edge of this space, the Varn Dominion fleet assembled. Dozens of warships floated in precise formation, sharp, angular designs built for fear, not beauty. Their engines glowed like fire beneath polished black hulls. Fighters buzzed around like swarms of metal insects. In the center of it all stood the Dominion flagship, Hammerfall, a massive fortress in space, bristling with weapons. Inside, General Korvex stood at the command platform, arms folded behind his back. His face was carved with years of discipline and war, his gray eyes sharp and unforgiving. A young officer approached, bowing his head. General, Union movements are increasing near the border. Civilian traffic has nearly stopped. Their fleet is regrouping around Sector 7. Corps didn't move. Good. Let them show their fear. Let them scramble. The officer hesitated. There are requests from our Senate to pursue diplomacy. Corps' voice was quiet, but firm. No. The word cut through the room like a blade. They showed their hand when they sent a ship full of dead diplomats into our space. There will be no talks. Only justice. He turned toward the large viewing screen. On it, the image of the derelict Horizon star hovered silently, its hull cracked and blackened. Kerr narrowed his eyes. I don't care who planted it, he muttered. The Union let it happen. That's enough. Meanwhile, aboard the Aegis, Commander Lyra Voss paced the intelligence deck. Her mind was racing. The pieces were there, just scattered, hidden, and dangerous. She stopped in front of a large galactic map and tapped the screen. Trade routes, military zones, and black sites lit up in color. What are you looking for? Asked Lieutenant Jalen, stepping beside her. Lyra stared at the map. A crack. A shadow. A way to trace where the Horizon star went during those missing years. She had already followed the ship's logs. They were fake. Someone had carefully rewritten its movements. The problem was that whoever did it made a mistake. See this, she said, pointing to a supply route marked inactive. It says this corridor hasn't been used in 6 years. Jalen nodded. Right. It was closed after the pirate ambushes. Except we picked up faint warp residue here, she said, circling a section of the route. Old, weak, but real. Someone used it recently. A ship with Union-grade engines. Jalen blinked. You think the Horizon star was taken there? I think it was hidden there. Lyra moved quickly. I need a stealth ship. Just me and one pilot. We can't alert command or the Varn. If I'm wrong, we waste a day. If I'm right. She didn't finish the sentence. Jalen frowned. You'll be going off mission. Against direct orders. Lyra met his eyes. You don't have to come. Jalen smirked. I didn't say I wasn't coming. Their ship was a small recon cruiser named Whisperhawk. It was fast, quiet, and built for scouting behind enemy lines. No weapons. Minimal armor. Just speed and stealth. They launched that night, slipping away from the Aegis under the cover of a scheduled training patrol. No one stopped them. No one asked questions. The stars stretched around them like a frozen sea. As they neared the abandoned corridor, Lyra felt the tension rise in her chest. The signal was faint, but real. A trace of movement. A breadcrumb. They followed it. Hours passed. Then something appeared on the sensors. A structure. Half buried in an asteroid cluster was a small, hidden docking station. No official registration. No active beacons. Just a cold, silent platform surrounded by debris and shielded from scanners. Lyra stared at it. This wasn't built by pirates. Jalen ran a scan. Looks like Union tech. Old, but modified. They docked carefully, suits on, weapons ready. The airlock creaked as it opened. Inside, the station was dead. Long hallways. Dim lights. Walls scarred by fire and time. But signs of recent activity were everywhere, power cells still warm, crates recently moved, footprints in the dust. In the central hub, they found something worse than expected. A hangar bay filled with parts from the Horizon star, engine cores, navigation systems, security modules. Everything stripped clean and left behind. Someone had dismantled the ship here, and left no record of why. Then, Lyra saw it. On a broken screen near the control panel, a single word blinked in pale blue. Operation Iron Veil, phase complete. She stared at it, heart pounding. Iron Veil, she whispered. She copied the data instantly and disconnected. Jalen looked at her. What does it mean? I don't know, she said. But someone went to a lot of trouble to erase it. Which means it matters. Before they could leave, the console flashed red. An alert. Incoming ship. They ran back to the Whisperhawk, just as a large vessel dropped out of warp behind the asteroid field. No markings. No ID. Silent and dark. It opened fire. Lyra and Jalen barely escaped. Hours later, back in deep space, the Whisperhawk floated beneath radar. Lyra patched the data into her secure terminal and began digging. What she found chilled her. Operation Iron Veil was a classified Union project. not listed in any official records, not military, not diplomatic. A black program, funded through untraceable channels, connected to weapons, misinformation, and false flag missions. And worst of all, it was still active. Someone inside the Union planned this war, Lyra said quietly. They used the Horizon Star to do it. She sat back in her chair, stunned. The Union wasn't just lying. They were starting the war on purpose. The silence inside the Whisper Hawk felt heavier than usual. Commander Lyra Voss sat in the co-pilot seat, staring at the data pulled from the hidden station. The screen showed a name over and over again, Operation Iron Veil. No details. No official links. Just a tangled web of erased files, blacked-out entries, and ghost authorizations. Lieutenant Jalen paced behind her, rubbing his jaw. You're sure this is real? Lyra didn't look up. Too many erased logs. Too many dead ends. This wasn't piracy. It was a cover-up. Union tech in a secret station, the Horizon Star torn apart, and this operation, Iron Veil, it's still running. Jalen sat down across from her, concern in his eyes. You think they did it? Our own people? Lyra nodded slowly. Yes. They wanted the treaty mission to fail. They needed a reason for war. So they made one. The room fell quiet again. Why now? Jalen finally asked. Why plant the ship near Dominion space 5 years later? Lyra turned the screen toward him. Because peace talks are back on the table. The Senate wants to open dialogue again. But Iron Veil wants war. So they planted the Horizon Star like a weapon. A dead crew. A missing treaty. Instant chaos. Jalen stared at the screen. This is treason. No, Lyra said, standing. It's worse. It's mass manipulation. It's murder. And they'll do anything to keep it buried. They returned to the Aegis in stealth, docking without drawing attention. Lyra wore a hard expression as she walked through the halls, carrying a secure data chip in her hand. She needed to speak to Admiral Kale directly, face to face. But Kale wasn't in his quarters. He wasn't on the command deck either. After 20 minutes of dead ends, Jalen intercepted her, eyes wide. Lyra, he's gone. She turned sharply. What do you mean gone? He left the ship 2 hours ago. A sudden transport order. No reason given. No location listed. His security clearance was revoked. Lyra's stomach dropped. He knew. Or someone thought he did. She looked down at the chip in her hand, the last copy of the truth. If they were silencing high-ranking officers, she wasn't safe either. She moved quickly, ducking into a private comm station deep in the lower deck. The walls were old, wiring exposed. But the signal was clean and off-grid. She opened the file and encrypted a message to a trusted contact, Riven Cade, an ex-spy turned independent broker. He owed her a favor. A big one. The message was short. Riven, I need help. Operation Iron Veil. Proof attached. Contact me. Voss. She hit send and hoped it reached him in time. But the silence didn't last long. An hour later, Lyra returned to her quarters. As soon as the door closed behind her, 2 officers were waiting, both in dark uniforms. Internal security. The taller one stepped forward. Commander Voss, you are under investigation for unauthorized access to classified data, violation of command protocol, and suspected collaboration with Dominion operatives. Lyra narrowed her eyes. You're joking. No, ma'am. The second one replied. You are hereby relieved of duty pending full tribunal review. Hand over all personal data devices and accompany us to holding. They didn't ask twice. Lyra was escorted through the ship like a criminal, crew members turning to watch in stunned silence. She said nothing. She didn't fight. But inside, she was planning. The holding cell was small and cold. No window. No light except a dim blue glow from the ceiling. Lyra sat on the bench, breathing slowly, trying to stay calm. They were trying to silence her. Just like Kale. Just like her brother. But then the door hissed open. A shadow stepped in, a figure in a maintenance uniform with a familiar voice. Commander, said Jalen, holding a keycard. Get up. We don't have long. Lyra stared. You broke me out? Let's just say I borrowed a few codes, he said, smirking. They moved quickly, slipping through back corridors and cargo holds. No alarms yet, but they didn't have time to spare. In a small docking bay, a civilian ship was waiting, unmarked, dusty, forgotten. Lyra climbed aboard. This yours? Nope, Jalen said. But no one's using it. They launched in silence, the ship pulling away from the Aegis just as an internal alert flashed across the console. Security breach detected. All ships on lockdown. Too late. They were already gone. Hours later, Drifting in deep space, Lyra received a reply. It came as a voice-only message scrambled through 3 relays. Lyra, it's Riven. Got your file. You weren't wrong. Iron Veil runs deep. I found matching threads on a dozen war projects, civilian assassinations, and fake flag ops. These people aren't just traitors, they're architects. They built this whole war, piece by piece. But listen, there's worse. I traced a Dominion attack order. It's going live in less than 2 days. Full assault on Union border colonies. And guess what triggered it? The Horizon Star. Lyra's heart pounded. The Varn Dominion had taken the bait. War was about to begin. Unless she stopped it. The stars looked different when war was near. They no longer felt calm or beautiful. They felt sharp, like the edge of a blade waiting to fall. Commander Lyra Voss sat in the cockpit of the stolen civilian ship, staring at the empty void ahead. Her thoughts were racing. Behind her, Lieutenant Jalen checked system readouts in silence. They had no weapons, no backup, no clearance. Just the truth, and time was running out. We're getting close, Jalen said. 2 hours until the Dominion hits the border colonies. Lyra nodded. Her voice was quiet, but firm. Then we need to make them listen before that happens. They were headed for Outpost Delta 9, a small diplomatic station that sat directly between Union and Dominion space. It was neutral territory, mostly abandoned after peace talks collapsed years ago. But its broadcast array still worked, and it could reach both sides. Lyra leaned back in her seat. We'll transmit the data. Everything. Operation Iron Veil, the fake logs, the hidden station, even my brother's final message. Jalen looked uncertain. Do you really think they'll believe it? They'll believe him, she said. He was on that ship. He died trying to stop this. The station appeared in the distance, rusted, old, barely holding orbit. Its beacon pulsed weakly like a dying heart. As they approached, Lyra sent a docking request. No response. We'll have to go in manually, she said. They docked and entered through a stiff airlock. The lights inside flickered. Dust floated through the cold air. Most of the systems were down, but the central comms unit was still functional. Lyra uploaded the files. Every image, every log, every trace of proof. She opened a wideband channel. Her voice filled the room. This is Commander Lyra Voss of the Galactic Union. What you're about to see is classified information. But I can't keep it hidden anymore. The truth matters more than my orders. More than protocol. More than fear. 5 years ago, a mission was launched to bring peace between the Union and the Varn Dominion. That mission was sabotaged from within. Not by Dominion agents, but by a secret program inside the Union, Operation Iron Veil. They killed the crew of the Horizon Star. They erased its records. They made it disappear. And now, they've used that ship to trigger a war. You will see logs, names, coordinates, proof of what was done. You'll hear the voice of one of the victims, my brother, Lieutenant Commander Rian Voss, who knew something was wrong. I don't ask for your trust. I ask you to listen. She played the recording. Rian's voice echoed across the stars. If anything happens to us, don't let this get buried. Lyra ended the transmission. The files were sent across both Union and Dominion networks. It's done, she said quietly. But it wasn't over. Not yet. Alarms blared across the station. Multiple warp signatures inbound. Jalen shouted. 2 Union ships. 1 Dominion dreadnought. They found us. Lyra rushed to the viewport. A massive Dominion warship dropped out of warp, its cannons charged, lights flashing red. Beside it, 2 Union interceptors arrived. All ships aimed at each other. The station was directly in the crossfire. We're too late, Jalen said. They're going to start shooting. Lyra grabbed the comm panel. This is Commander Voss. I'm aboard Outpost Delta 9. I have no weapons. I am not a threat. I've sent both of you the truth. If you fire in ignorance. And you will kill the only chance we have left to stop this. Silence followed. The Dominion ship hailed her. General Korvek's face appeared on screen. Cold. Stern. You are brave, he said. But brave does not mean innocent. What makes you think I believe you? Lyra met his eyes. You don't have to believe me, she said. Just believe your own data. Your own sensors. Look at the black box from the Horizon Star. Compare it with what I've sent. You'll find they match. You'll see who really did this. Kerr stared at her a long time. His face was stone. Then he looked to his side. A Dominion officer handed him a data pad. He scanned it. His eyes shifted slightly. Lyra continued, her voice calm but urgent. You've lost people to this war. So have we. Don't let their deaths be used like this. Don't let murderers in shadow uniforms control our future. The Union commander came on next. Captain Merrill. His tone was tight, suspicious. Commander Voss, you're a fugitive. You went against orders. You stole Union property. Why should I listen to anything you say? Lyra didn't flinch. Because I care more about stopping this war than I do about saving my career. Another pause. The Dominion dreadnought slowly turned. Its cannons powered down. Then the Union ships followed suit. Silence again. Jalen let out a breath. They're not firing. Lyra slumped into the chair. Her hands trembled slightly. We bought time, she said. But it wasn't victory yet. Hours later, a new message came in. This time from a diplomatic relay. The Union Council and Varn High Command had agreed to reopen peace talks, beginning with a full investigation into Operation Iron Veil. The war was not over, but it was paused, and the truth had finally reached the light. The ruins of war often remain long after the fighting stops. And even when no shots are fired, the damage done by lies and fear can leave deeper scars. The outpost Delta 9 station drifted quietly at the edge of neutral space, its metal walls scorched by age and near battle. Inside, Commander Lyra Voss stood near the large viewing window, watching Union and Dominion ships holding position at a respectful distance. The tension had not vanished, but for the first time in years, neither side was firing. The transmission she sent had been received across both fleets, and more importantly believed. Behind her, Lieutenant Jalen walked in holding a data pad. His uniform was dusty and torn, but his eyes were alert. It's official, he said. The Union Senate has ordered a full internal investigation. They've frozen all projects under the Iron Veil network. Some of the names you exposed are already being questioned. Others vanished. Lyra nodded slowly. Vanished means they were warned. Or protected, Jalen added. The Dominion is sending delegates. They want face-to-face talks. Real ones this time. She exhaled and looked down. Her fingers ran along the edge of the cold window. So much damage, she whispered. All to keep a war alive that no one wanted. Jalen leaned against the wall beside her. You stopped it, Lyra. You did what no one else could. She shook her head. I didn't stop it. I just showed them the truth. Whether they fix it or not, that's up to them. Later that day, a small diplomatic ship arrived at the outpost. Its design was sleek, polished, and unarmed. It bore no Union or Dominion symbols, only a simple white insignia, two hands reaching toward one another. Lyra met the incoming envoy herself. Among them was a tall, sharp-eyed woman from the Dominion named Commander Veilor. She spoke little but gave Lyra a respectful nod. The general sends his regards, Vea said. And his apology. Lyra nodded. Tell him I accept it. For now. They shook hands. For the first time in years, Union and Dominion officers shared a room without weapons drawn. It wasn't peace, not yet. But it was a start. Back aboard the Aegis, days later, Lyra entered her old quarters. Her access code still worked, though she had been removed from active duty. She stepped inside and looked around. Nothing had changed. Her books were still stacked on the desk. Her brother's photo still hung near the bed. She sat down and opened her final report. To Union Command. I accept full responsibility for my actions. I violated direct orders. I accessed classified files without clearance. I defied protocol. But I also uncovered a plot that could have led to the deaths of billions. The truth must always matter more than the chain of command. I hereby resign my post with honor, effective immediately. She signed it and sent the message. Her time in uniform was over. She had done what she came to do. Outside the docking bay, Jalen stood waiting. You're leaving? He asked as Lyra approached with a small bag. She gave him a tired smile. No medals. No parades. Just walking away before someone tries to drag me back into the mess. He looked down, then nodded. What will you do? I don't know, she said. But someone out there is still cleaning up the mess Iron Veil left behind. Maybe I'll help. Jalen extended his hand. She took it without hesitation. You saved a galaxy, Commander. Lyra looked him in the eye. I saved the truth. The galaxy will have to save itself. She boarded a small civilian shuttle and launched into open space. Far away, in a quiet system not marked on any star maps, a signal blinked to life. A single line of encrypted text repeated on loop. Phase 1 complete. Prepare for the next directive. A new shadow was rising. But for now, peace held. And one voice had made the difference.